My name is Megan Veldhuizen. I've taught 5 years, and I teach at Woodland Hills and Lawton for Lawton Public Schools. I teach transitional first grade. I got on as soon as I became a teacher. I found out about the program. I was kind of weary at first, not knowing what to ask for. Then you can go shopping, and then it's like free range of anything you might want to ask for your classroom. So I started writing projects. I've had 11 fully funded, have 1 active right now. So I just always keep going. You can always want, and need free stuff. I normally have no more than 2, and that's just because if I want them funded in a timely manner, I don't want to have to beg for lots of money at one time. So the way I let everybody know about my active DonorsChoose projects is through social media. So Facebook, I have a class Facebook page. I also use Twitter, Instagram, anything you can think of. I also put it in my school newsletter, in my personal classroom newsletter, and emails, anything that I can get people to share, because it's not even if your parents donate, anybody can donate. So the more you get the word out there, the faster they get funded. I have found increased success because the more donors that you have, the better your odds. Even if somebody donates $1 to a project, it still counts as a total donor. So if you have 3 donors, you're less likely to be funded if you have, let's say, 12 donors. So DonorsChoose actually advertises your projects the more donors that you can provide. So I really tell my parents and faculty and throughout the community, even if you donate $1, you're really helping the project. So I've been surprised multiple times on just random donors, choosing my project from New York to California to Illinois, all over, and I guess it's DonorsChoose that is advertising my project, and just social media by friends and family and parents sharing that information. So you can get funded by anybody. It doesn't even have to be somebody you know. So it's really awesome and surprising when you get an email that says your project was funded, or even a donation by somebody in New York. So that's really exciting when you get that information. I participate in Sonic Teachers and US Cellular Teachers. And Sonic Teachers allows us to submit a project through a time frame, normally starting in September, that allows you to have people vote for your project. And if you have so many votes, then they fully fund your project. And US Cellular just matches during certain time frames when they run a promo. So they fully fund projects, and I've gotten several of those even in the same month funded from US Cellular. I have been funded before by matching funds using, now it's the Spark code, and it's within the first 7 days of your project, and they match exactly what your donors use. Now you have to make sure to tell whoever is donating, whether it's your parents or your family or whoever in the community. If they forget to use the code, there's no going back. So you have to really stress that if you're going to use the code, they have to put it in within the first 7 days of the project going live. Once you get started, the only difficult thing for starting DonorsChoose, and once you are even active on it, is choosing what you actually want to ask for. Because once you go shopping, now you can even go shopping on Amazon. When you go shopping on Amazon, your choices are endless of what you might want for your classroom. So you really have to have a goal in mind of what you want your project to be. Once you get fully funded with DonorsChoose, you get an email from DonorsChoose, and you just verify your school address to make sure that's still the location you want your materials sent to. Once you do that, you get another email that says they've shipped your items, and you also get one where you pick a date for your thank yous that you mail to your donors. Donors also have the option not to receive thank you notes, so sometimes you don't have to mail any out, but that's a rare occasion. So then you create thank you notes in your class. They can be simple, on construction paper. They can be actual, designed on cardstock. It just matters of what you have time for in your classroom. Then you also have to describe the impact that those materials have made in your classroom. And then you upload 6 photos of your students using those materials so the donors get to see what their money went towards. Somebody who's just thinking about getting onto DonorsChoose, I would highly recommend it. I'd really honestly push for them to get on DonorsChoose because it's always exciting, and your kids think it's like Christmas when they get new materials in class. And it's a simple process once you learn the ins and outs of creating a project. You go through each screen and you really just think about what is my end goal for these materials and what materials do I want. The hardest thing is deciding what you want, because you might have a goal in mind and then you start shopping and, oh, I could use that in my classroom and I can use that. So you really just have to pick and stick with it once you get shopping. And that's really the hardest part, because you get sidetracked on, oh, I really need that when I'm shopping. So pick a goal, stick with it, and just write all of your questions towards that goal, and then it's easy once you get completed. Our school does not have any specific rules about DonorsChoose other than if you are leaving that school to transfer to a different school, you can take your materials with you. But if you are leaving our district, the materials have to stay at whatever school you were last at.